This class will start off with conditionals. Okay, what I'm talking about is if else is the very common uh, method used to represent conditionals. Okay. Okay, so when I write, sorry. If, okay, let's say the value of x is 20, the value of y is 25. When I write uh, okay, yeah. So this is the if keyword, right? This is the condition to check, right? That means if the value of x is 20 is correct, because x is 20, right? So this will return true. So if this is true, only then it will execute this portion of the statement, right? Then it will print x is 20, right? So you can also add a else here, else, and you can write down the statement. So this is another keyword, right? I'll just highlight it with a different color so that. So this is one keyword, and this is one keyword, right? Else print x is not 20, right? Okay, so here what happens is first the code would check if would execute the if statement and check if this value is satisfied. If this is false, let's say if the value of x was 22, for example, right, then this would have been returned false, right? And if this if statement goes false, then immediately the control would be transferred to the else statement, right? Then the else statement will get executed and x is not 20 will be printed, and this won't be printed in that case. Okay, let's consider another example. If let's say x is 20, then let's take just print a, right? Else if. Okay, so this is another new keyword, right? Else if. Okay, else if x, okay, sorry, let's take y. Else if y is 25, print b. Okay, else print c. Okay, now let me take another color and explain how exactly this would work. Okay, so I'll just highlight the keywords again. If is the keyword, else if is the keyword, and else is the keyword. Now what would happen is, so first it would check this condition, right? If condition, if x is 20. So in our case we took x as 22 and y as 25. So this is not true. Then what would happen? The control would get transferred to else if, and it would check if this is true. So in this case, else if y equal to 25. Is y 25? Yes. If this is true, satisfied, then it will enter this and it will print b, right? And once it prints b, it will come out, right? It will not go to else again, right? So basically this entire portion of the code is executed, right? So let's say if you had even like if condition then do something, right? Here it was printing out else if condition do something. Let's say we had two more else ifs. Else if condition do something, right? Else do this, right? So first thing is the difference between else if and else is that else if has a condition to check, right? Else is like if you have none of the conditions met, then it would go to else, right? But else if is like checking for that condition as well, right? So the control would first come to if and it would check this statement. If it is true, it would enter here. Then let's say this was false. Then okay, if this was true, then it would come out of this, right? It will not go to any of these three, right? That's how the flow works. But let's say if this was false, then the control would have come here. And if this was true, then it will go inside this statement and then it will exit again, right? It won't check for else if here again. Even if let's say this was also true and even this was true, right? Still it won't check, it will come out, okay? Or if this was false, then it would again come here and again check this. If let's say if this was also false, then it will just print whatever is in the else, right? So I hope this is clear. So the three keywords that we have used is if, else if, and else, okay? Now let's see the example. Yeah, so this is the example, right? If okay, I'll just run this. So I'll run this portion of the code. So now x is getting assigned to 23, y is getting assigned to 45. Now what is this? This is just a simple if else thing, right? If x is 30 and y is 45, that means both have to be true, then only this entire condition will be met, right? Because this is an AND operator, right? And is represented by two ampersands, right? So is this true in this case? It's not, right? Because x is 23. So this will be false and this will be true. So false and true is false. So it will not enter this statement and it won't do this. Instead, what we will do? We will just enter the else statement and it will print have not entered the if statement. Have not entered the if statement. That means it has just printed this one. Right? I hope this is clear. Okay. Now let us look at another interesting case. Okay, so here what there is if else and else, if else if and else. If x is 23 and y is 45, yes, this both are true and would return true. So this is true and this would get printed, right? At least one is true, right? But here what happens is, since then it will not execute these statements, right? That's why this both are true is not getting printed, right? Which is in the body, because once one of them becomes true, it automatically finishes the entire if else conditional execution, right? Now let's say let's come to the next part. Yes, now here what is happening, it's the same thing, x23 y45 x23 y45. I just okay, sorry, this is an OR operator and this is an AND operator, and here it was AND and OR. Okay, sorry, I didn't see that. Fine, so let's execute this. Yes, again it's entering the first statement, right? And it's printing it. So what you have to keep in mind is that even if your let's say else if is true, which is true in this case, still this won't be executed, right? Although in this case both are true, x is 23 and y is 45, but only x is 23 or y is 45 is getting executed because that is also true But since the if statement execution has already been executed, it will not come here, right? But whereas here, okay, let's assign the value of x to 22 and y to 45, right? Now let's see what this print, right? So this would be x equal to 23, this would be false, y equal to 45, this will be true. So this won't be entering here, right? Sorry, the statement is written differently, but I'm sure you understand, right? So what I'm trying to say is that even the ordering matters here, right? You'll have to write your conditions in such a way that, let's say this is true, but you also know that this is true, but you should know that it won't enter here if your first condition is true, right? So you can't make this condition a subset of this, right? You'll have to write it in such a way. Okay. Okay.